In the United States of America, we justly treasure our hard-won freedom. The Declaration of Independence proudly proclaims the inalienable right of liberty. The Pledge of Allegiance, that we're one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. And the National Anthem, that we're the land of the free and the home of the brave. Since 1886, immigrants and visitors to New York have been warmly greeted by a woman 305 feet tall with a raised torch called the Statue of Liberty Enlightening the World. This national icon shows us just how much America defines herself by our freedom and holds that freedom aloft as a light for all peoples. Because freedom is so important, we have to know what it is and how best to use it. Freedom is a gift that comes with a task. Like water, which can be used to drink or to drown, the gift of freedom can be used for good or ill. If we use it well, it will become stronger. If we abuse it, it can undermine its own foundations. In the sad case of addictions, someone uses his freedom to have a beer, but then abuses it to have a case, and slowly but surely becomes enslaved to alcohol, no longer free to say no. In the destruction of various democracies last century, we saw electorates freely vote for candidates with authoritarian tendencies, who once in office used their power to eliminate the very liberties, including free and fair elections, by which they were voted into office. Culturally, we are seeing freedoms abused with greater frequency. Free speech is exploited to defend pornography. Freedom of religion for satanic practices. The so-called freedom to choose, to end the lives of human beings in the womb. The more freedom is abused, the more enslaved and less free we become. To stay free, we must use freedom properly. Freedom is not the license to do whatever we want, wherever we want, whenever we want, without the interference of anyone else. It's not the power to pretend that we're God, determining good and evil, even deciding over life and death. Freedom, rather, is the capacity to act in accordance with the truth about who we are in God's image and likeness. It's a self-mastery that makes it possible for us to give of ourselves to others in love. Jesus tells us that there is a connection between truth and freedom. You will know the truth, he says, and the truth will make you free. We're not free, therefore, when we're living in ignorance or living a lie. To be free, we must accept reality, the way God made the world and us and pronounced us good. This is why the Supreme Court in the 1992 abortion decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, did so much damage when it taught, at the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own concept of existence, of meaning, of the universe, and of the mystery of human life itself. Sorry, the essence of liberty is not to define what the meaning of the solar system is. It's to discover the meaning, the truth built into the universe, and the truth built into the human person. Once freedom and truth are severed, we shouldn't be surprised that liberty will be abused, as when the Casey decision defended abortion, as if what is growing in the womb were not really a human person deserving of protection. We also see the Casey logic in gender ideology. If a boy defines himself as Superman and thinks he's free to hurdle skyscrapers, we would never enable him. Yet with false compassion, that's what we do with those who believe they're boys trapped in a girl's body or vice versa, permitting them to ensnare themselves in pseudo-reality rather than becoming freer through accepting the truth about themselves, however challenging. St. Paul tells us, for freedom, Christ has set us free. In the redemption, Christ set us free from sin for love. Our freedom has a purpose, and the more we use it for that purpose, the freer we become. That's why St. Paul urges us in the same verse, so stand firm in freedom, and do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. When the popes have visited the United States, they've all spoken to us about preserving our freedom by using it well. I only have the time to talk about the challenging words Pope Benedict XVI said at the White House in 2008. Freedom, he taught, is not only a gift, but a summons to personal responsibility. The preservation of freedom calls for the cultivation of virtue, self-discipline, sacrifice for the common good, and a sense of responsibility toward the less fortunate. It also demands the courage to engage in civic life and to bring one's deepest beliefs and values to reasoned public debate. In a word, he concluded, freedom is ever new. It's a challenge held out to each generation, and it must constantly be won over for the cause of good. Our generation, therefore, has to fight for freedom just as much as did the generation of 1776, or the greatest generation during World War II. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Let's use the freedom for which Christ has set us free, the freedom won by previous generations through costly sacrifice, for the cause of good, so that we may indeed remain the land of the free, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Father Roger Landry for EDIFY.